Order. And the first order of business, after going to the signature file, just a reminder, but the 2021 town meeting discussion with John Radigan and election officials.
I don't see Bob.
What's that?
I don't see Bob, so he may not have been able to log in. There he is, right there. Oh, he is there. Okay.
I'm here.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I saw you.
Hey there.
So is John kicking it off, or?
Yeah, John, you want to kick it off? We've got a couple of correspondence from you about the Chesterfield town and voting. There's also the governor's recent ordinance for postponing town meeting until July or whatever, perhaps. Anyway, John, do you want to? Oh, you're still on. You're on Zoom, or at least we can't hear you. You're not on Zoom, at least. I mean, you're not on mute, but we can't hear you.
Where is he?
He's in the middle.
Yeah, I know. I was looking for his name. John,
Okay.
John, you have to connect your audio.
He can't hear you.
Well, he should be able to hear us, maybe.
You need to reconnect, John.
That's why I come in person.
Me too.
All right. How about if we just call him?
Should we?
Hey, you want to give him a call? Or...
Yep. That's all right. They're waiting for John to hook up, so. Somebody's, he's electronically savvy like I am.
All right. Do you think he's not hearing us, or did he just drop off?
He's
or what?
here. He's got somebody sitting in his seat trying to figure out his audio.
Okay.
Might have to call in.
How about them Tampa Bayers, you know?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
If not for the GOAT and Gronkowski, they'd be nowhere.
Yeah.
Is that your team? No.
Wait.
What is your team?
Dang it out of my back. I'm a PA boy.
Okay.
I'm a Steelers fan. Don't say anything, Chief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have to say anything. You got beat by Cincinnati.
Well, you should have kept Brady. You'd be going to another Super Bowl.
Right.
I don't think we would have, not with the team we had this year. Absolutely not.
Larry, I'll just put this up here for you.
Oh.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
What did it say?
Start waving those. Perfect.
Yeah, we got two grandkids in Pittsburgh. I haven't been to a game yet because it gets wild down there during the games.
Oh, I bet. Oh, I mean, Tampa Bay, they're going to be at home. They're playing on their home field. How about that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
That's never happened before.
I think-
Travel?
I think it's a sign, you know? Could it be?
Can you hear me?
Reverb.
Him and a lot of feedback.
Yeah, you just need to mute the Zoom side.
Yeah.
Maybe use the phone too.
Okay, he's muted the Zoom side. John, you still there?
This, somebody else still sitting in his seat.
No, but he's on his phone, I think.
Huh?
I think he's on his phone.
To unmute it.
We don't have a phone up here anymore. We can move it if we need to.
Well, he could call in as well.
And it star 6 on you on the phone.
Okay.
*69, star.
So he's got to hit *6 to unmute yourself on the phone.
John, did you
Okay.
hear that?
Okay,
Yeah.
There you
gotcha.
go. Yay.
All right, sorry about that.
No problem. So, tell us where we're at. Or how,
Well,
how-
I guess the real question is, and it's what direction do you want to go? Because now that the governor has adopted Emergency Order 83, aside from the illustrations that I sent out to you before the governor adopted that, you've got a lot of options. So the question is, where do you want to go?
all right. Do our election officials want to weigh in, or?
My concern is, and I'm not set in any one way or another, but whatever we do, on election day, we have water and sewer ballots, we have school district ballots, we have Pemmy Baker Regional High School ballots. You've got, and if you put your town warrant on there also, as well as the school warrant, because they're Senate Bill 2, and then also any zoning amendments and so forth. That's I'm just concerned about getting all of the different groups to work together to do it on the same day, to be able to have meetings ahead of time to be able to do it if we're going to do it as a drive-through.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Bob and I had talked briefly, and we both would like to see town election remain in person. So if we could do that separately from the drive-through, or even if we could utilize the cafeteria, so voters on election day could begin in the cafeteria voting on warrant articles and then move on to the gymnasium where they could vote, on the regular ballot. And I think that could be an option as well, but it will be difficult because we have multiple departments on election day, like water and sewer, like Bob was mentioning.
All right, so, how would that look, or how can we accommodate, or what is, could be, I know you're shooting for like May.
If we're going to be outside, yeah. But I mean, I can do March. I'm not done. I'm not anchored to any day, any time. How is it going to be most effective to get the voters through? And if we do a drive-through, where are we going to do it?
One of the things that you should think about the drive-through is I was able to work out with the Attorney General's office, basically a more traditional voting in person by ballot drive-through. So Newmarket's option that I presented to you only has a parking space or two available for persons who don't want to come into the building and vote by ballot the way they ordinarily would on the warrant articles. That's just like a regular election day. And then if you don't want to go into the building, you can call into a number. Someone will bring you out a ballot. You can vote on the ballot, fill it out. They put it in an envelope. They take it in, and then they run it through the, counter.
It's pretty much what we did for the primary and the national election. We had an outside voting spot, but this allows us to have people drive up and not have to stand outside and vote in a voting booth. That will work. That way we don't have to change anything. The only thing that needs to be changed is by each of the departments or each of the districts to have their meetings ahead of time so that they can vote on the warrant articles that day. That would be the least confusing for the public. I think that people are used to voting in March, and that would make a lot of sense. If you'd like to move it a little further to a little nicer weather, I'm sure the election officials won't cry about that.
Hmm. Josie, how many registered voters do we have that we would have to send mailings to?
It being a university town, we have over 7,000 registered voters. That's hefty. Yeah.
1,000 postcards that we'd have to mail out, and I think they're, what, 30 cents a piece now? Right?
I don't know. I haven't done postcards.
Do you remember how much your dog postcards are, Josie, to mail out?
I think it's typically, I think we just go the standard postage.
So 51 cents?
Yep, 51 cents.
More money.
It's just 35 and just postage, 3,500, and then the cards and such.
Right. And you'd have extra moderators?
I would have, which way are you talking? Are you talking about having a place outside? I don't know if I would have an extra moderator anyways. I would use Quentin again because he's the school district moderator and the town wouldn't have to pay for him. And he's also the water and sewer moderator. So, I mean, he would have to be there unless he appointed me to take his place. And I don't think I would have him appoint me to take his place in that case. So we would have two moderators. So somebody to oversee outside and somebody to oversee inside. And I'm not sure whether it's the two locations for the warrant articles, but we could have separate boxes on the inside. I'd have to look at that and study it to try to figure it out. And the other thing is the selectmen have to really consider and think hard about how to pare that warrant article, the warrant, down to as few articles as possible, so that people aren't trying to read for 20 minutes or a half an hour in order to vote.
At the same time, we group too many things together. Something getting voted down has bigger impact.
I got it. But I mean, that's the catch-22 in all of this. And if we do it this way, we're not going to have to put on the article. And this is for the attorney we're not going to have to put on the warrant that are you favorable to voting this way, or will we?
Yes, if you're going to follow some of the authority in 1129, you have to have that as one of the lead warrant article questions.
So regardless, whether if the whole thing could get voted down before you ever get to any of the warrant articles. So, I mean, that's the risk that you guys have to take. But you don't want to make it so cumbersome that they just want to check the first box and say to hell with it.
Well, you won't know the results of that until all the ballots are counted.
Right. But I mean, I've seen
Yeah,
people start in on a long ballot and start and not finish. That's what I'm saying. Because they say, and
Yeah.
especially you see it on the zoning ordinances all the time, is that a lot of them will go blank because people won't bother to take the time to do it.
What's the result if it gets voted down?
Last year's budget.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so if they vote no, we don't accept doing this in this manner, then you just get last year's budget.
Yep.
That's correct.
Oh, wow.
So are you guys asking a lot of increases this year? Or are you close to last year's budget?
I think
don't know
we're
yet.
close.
You're
I
close?
think we're close. Yeah.
So it could be, left or right hand doesn't make any difference if you're really close, if it's a couple, I don't know how many thousands of dollars difference, but, that's something to consider also. Do you feel any better than you did before we started this meeting?
I mean,
Yeah.
it almost sounds like to me that we don't need to do drive-through voting. It sounds like what we're doing already is fine, and that we can just include the additional ballot and people can either vote outside or in their vehicles. I think a majority of people enjoy the experience of coming in. But we can also have a separate ballot inside and people can vote. And when they go to exit the building, they can give, the town election ballots to one selectman and then the warrant article ballot to another.
Just put it in a separate ballot box. It
Yeah.
won't run through the machine. That's all.
I mean, I think that'll be the easiest thing for us to do because we've already worked so hard on this current setup.
Yeah,
And
we've got
it'll
the
work.
setup. We've got the
Yeah,
setup and we've
yeah.
got the COVID safety covered.
Yeah.
So if you feel comfortable, I think we can probably go ahead and do that.
I think just for me, it'll be hard for me to find volunteers for, drive through, also accommodating people just outside of the building, like the current setup we have, and then to find volunteers for also inside. I can most likely I'll be able to do it. It's just going to be harder. So if there's any way that we can work with our current setup, that would be best.
Hey, John, does the RSA allow that? Looking at it, the third item in there says if you proceed with the virtual meeting, then voting on final warrant articles shall be by secret ballot cast by voters through drive-up procedures. Is that
That's correct.
optional?
What do you mean by optional? No, that's the way you have to do it.
So if you do a virtual town meeting, you have to do voting by drive-up. Those are not.
No.
You can't disconnect
Well,
those.
all right, I understand your question. When we talked to the Attorney General's office about Newmarket, there were some people out there who were interpreting, House Bill 1129 is requiring all voting to be by drive-up. And we said, look, Newmarket runs a really safe, in-person voting system. We've got lots of equipment and separation distances all worked out. We ran a great election back in November. And so we want to do the same thing. And so we said, we're going to set aside a parking space, one space, for people who don't want to come into the building and who want to vote from their cars. And they said, making parking spaces available for folks who don't want to come into the building satisfies the drive-up requirement.
Okay, so we would have to have some sort of drive-up requirement.
Yeah. In other words, a parking space or two, and if you look at the Newington information that I sent out to you, it says on that notice to the voters that if you want to vote from your car, you go to the space, you call a particular number, someone comes out, they bring you a ballot, you fill it out, they take the ballot, put it in a folder, bring it in, and you're done. And, when we were talking about this, the Newmarket town manager was saying, hey, I'd be shocked if 15 or 20 people, use the parking space. Everyone else is coming into the building. And everyone else masks up. And of course, that's also the option for dealing with people who don't want to put on a mask.
Right.
If someone comes into the building and says, I want to come in, you say, no, you have to wear a mask because we're taking care of safety. But if you get back into your car, pull into one of these parking spaces or this parking space, we'll hand you, if you call in, we'll hand you a ballot. You can vote without a mask on in your car. And, we'll take your ballot and bring it inside.
Yeah. And, additionally, I think we're still going to see a decrease in the amount of voter turnout this year. We're going to have drives, absentee ballot request drives. So I think more people are going to vote absentee. So that'll help as well on election day.
That's right.
Yeah.
John, we're having our first public hearing tonight on the budget. And of course,
Yes.
we did not do, a mailing for that.
Right.
Is
There's no requirement to do the mailing for the budget.
okay.
The deliberative sessions, if you look at how, at the document that I gave you from for instance, if you look at how they're doing it for, if you look at Chesterfield, Saturday, February 27th is the first informational session. And that's the session where, the school board and the town, in their separate meetings, go over the budget, go over the procedure for conducting, and then they say, we would like to have public comment on this, and you tell people, and post it obviously on the website, and it's posted on the mailings that you send out, about how they can make public comment by doing it by email, by calling in, by mailing in. And then the second public session is on March 3rd. It's 5 days later, because it has to be within 7 days. And then they're voting on March 9th. So it's those, the optional deliberative session where that information is getting out there, and where the selectman is finalizing, the warrant articles after the close of the second information session. That's a pretty quick turnaround. And you have time, because the real key hearing, the real key is, for you, it's the mailing date of whatever the meeting dates you choose. And of course, obviously, if you wanted to keep the same dates, you still have time to do it. If you wanted to give yourself a little more leeway for planning purposes and kick it out 30 days, you got plenty of time to do that too.
I'm sorry, is the state requiring that we send mailers to people for the deliberative session or virtual deliberative
Yes.
sessions?
Yes.
Okay,
That's it. That's in the House Bill
House Bill.
1129.
Yep.
Yeah.
I must have missed that then.
That's annoying.
You see that? Do you need mine?
It's crazy
Uh,
because this is the year that we clean out the
Oh,
Yeah.
checklist, and that
Mhm.
checklist will go down by 3,000 names.
so it's right here too.
Okay.
So on top of you making a decision which way you need to go, you need to have some collaboration with the school district and the Pemmy Baker School District and the Water and Sewer District in order to have have their meetings in time before the
Yeah.
It seems like it would make sense for us to schedule a special meeting with everybody just to get aligned.
Right.
I agree.
Hemi Baker is SB2, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and do you know what the elementary school is?
they are a regular meeting just like the town, as is the water and sewer.
Okay,
And I know that their intention right now is to run their regular meeting like normal, because their attendance is usually under 100. But they might change that perspective if they want to align with what we're doing.
Water and sewer has 5 people there, so.
Well, just because they don't decide to go the direction you want to go doesn't mean that,
No,
they can't go in their traditional direction.
they can, and
Right.
but I mean, so we would take their ballots for their elected officials, but not
That's
their
correct.
warrant articles.
That's right.
And they would have to know that they weren't going to know what their final budget was until after our general
correct.
town meeting voted.
That's correct. Well, that would be for the regional school, not for the elementary, because they would be, if they're going to run their own meeting, they would have their answer there.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right.
And the thing with the regional high school is that if we do it there now and another town does it at another time and another town does it another time, they may not have a budget for months or who is now on the school board. So, what's the guy's name at the SAU office? Dan?
Ian, yep.
And Rusty.
I will, when you figure out what you want to do, I will talk with him and try to put that together.
And if we're mailing out mailers, I mean, Could we consider also mailing absentee ballot request forms? It'll be additional work, it's more stuffing, but that might be an option as well.
I don't think you want to send out that number of,
Request forms?
not even close. Regular attendance at a town meeting is no more than 300 people.
Yeah.
And a town election, it's usually maybe 500 people vote. So that's an awful lot of expense for a possible.
John, could we still vote in March for officers? And
Could
then-
you have 2 balloting sessions.
Yeah, you could just, you have plenty of time to do this. I mean, the mailing about how to, if you're going to do one of the, take up one of the optional, non-in-person deliberative session approaches, you have to mail out the notice 7 days prior to the meeting, 7 clear days. So, if those information sessions are starting in the late to February, you've got plenty of time to do that.
It's 7 days before the informational session, right?
Yes. Yeah. So if you're going to do the informational session, the first one, the 3rd or 4th week of February, you've got, plenty of time still to get that done.
So in answer to the question, I think you said, Ann, is yes, but we'd have to have two different election days. One to do the warrant articles and one to do all the rest of the stuff.
Well, I was thinking maybe we could do the officers the same day that we always do, the regular ballot, and then consider doing
The
a
deliberative.
regular town meeting.
Yeah.
Like a month later, or I'm just trying to,
COVID's not going to allow you to do it a month later. I can tell you right now.
COVID won't know, okay.
No.
What was that? I didn't get it.
COVID.
Yeah, why would COVID not? allow
I
us?
don't think it's going to be any better if you put it until March than, I mean, April.
No, true. I got you. Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I actually feel a little safer now than what I think it's going to be like later.
John needs to leave. I don't know if you have
Oh, okay.
more for him.
So, John, any expert advice before you take off in 2 minutes?
No, I think it's really, it's your call as to what works politically, and, organizationally for you guys. I know these are really difficult times. The governor has provided with people with a lot of, different options. And even the Attorney General's office, has worked flexibly, on the whole drive-by thing. I mean, the drive-by could work for a very small town, fine, but it doesn't work for a large town like Plymouth or for Newmarket. And the flexibility that they took in letting Newmarket work with that, I thought made, a terrific amount of sense. So it just depends on how you guys want to approach it. And as soon as you do, I'll work with Kathy and Ann and the board, and we'll write this stuff up and get it going.
Okay. All right.
Are we still under a limited occupancy order? Or has that been lifted?
Yes, we are under a limited occupancy order.
So how many
Right.
people are we allowed to have in a meeting room or the school?
Yeah, I think we've been through 100, right?
Yeah.
No more
Yeah.
than 100, right?
Right.
Okay, so that makes a difference too.
Yeah, but it just means that people are waiting outside to get in. In other words, you kind of keep you keep the lid, you keep it flowing, and I agree.
That's fine for voting, but that doesn't work for a deliberative session.
Right.
Well, if we did that
No.
virtually,
Right, that's what I said. That
Yeah.
the deliberative session, if you don't, unless few people are showing up or you're doing it outdoors, you really need to go to the virtual option.
Okay.
so we'd have 2 virtual meetings, and then election day, and people could vote.
Yeah, by
The warrant
virtual
article
meeting.
and
By virtual Right, information sessions. That's
Okay.
correct.
Yep.
Excuse me, sorry, I've got to run off to another meeting.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
And yeah, obviously, if anyone has any questions, just give me a holler, and I'll be happy to work through these things with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Good night.
Right.
Good night.
Well, looks like May's out.
I tried.
You
I
did.
mean, at this point, doesn't it feel like that's the right thing to do?
What feels like the right thing to do?
Which part?
To do the 2 virtual sessions and the drive-through voting and
The
get it
2 informational, yep.
Yeah.
And then the voting, yeah.
I mean, we would have to pick a date or whatever, but I don't think delaying necessarily, it certainly doesn't guarantee that we wouldn't have to do this anyway. And so it sort of feels like we should keep moving on it.
Would
Sorry.
March be doable?
What was that?
Would March still be doable?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
We already have the school booked for the elections and for the deliberative session. So we'd have to, in February, we can do 2 informationals. Yeah, we have a whole month but we have to notify the people.
And I think we'll actually be surprised. I think that more people are going to attend a virtual deliberative session, and we'll see more voter participation on election day. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You have more
What's our
faith
Zoom
than
limit?
what I do.
150,
Is that enough?
150.
We can extend our Zoom limit up though.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it as
dollars or something, and we can go up to 500.
right. I was going to do. You do it as a Zoom webinar, and you can go unlimited. It just depends on how you set it up.
And then you can moderate Bob and let people speak or not speak.
Right. Trying to watch 500 people at the same time. That would be interesting.
Did you see what happened at the Republican state convention?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay.
That's not going to be us. Don't worry about it. All right. So I think we're.
You want to set up a meeting with water and sewer, the 2 school districts, and have a brief discussion sometime this week?
Yeah.
Is there a day that is not good for anyone? Tomorrow's not good, but I think we could have something for Wednesday or Thursday if we can reach out to them. Is that
Thursday would be better for me.
Thursday? Okay.
hmm
Bob?
I can do Thursday.
Okay. Any members of the board that can't do Thursday?
I might be representing water and sewer too. So
Yeah, right.
Okay.
What time are we talking about?
Give us a couple times and we'll try to set something up.
I've got a problem.
Morning's best for me.
Mornings be fine with me too, but
me too.
Bob, you going to bring the peace pipe?
Well, there's no issues between water and sewer in town anymore. I don't need a peace pipe. It's not like it used to be. Thank
Okay.
God.
I can do Thursday morning, but I'm not sure if Barbara Noyes, Bob, you might know. I don't know if Barbara Noyes, the clerk of the Water and Sewer Department, can make that.
Maybe not, but as I said, I probably will be representing the
Okay.
water and sewer department.
Okay.
So we'll try to set that up and get that information out tomorrow, first thing.
Okay. Sounds good.
yep, very good.
Thank you, everyone, for your help in getting through this, and we will get through this.
Well,
Yep, we will.
one day at a time.
Hey, who's going to pay for those postcards, by the way? not that it's
I'm going
like,
to take a collection at
I'm not
the
sure if
polls.
it's going to be my budget.
I'm going to take
I
a
think
collection.
it's the selectmen's.
it's probably going to be out of COVID monies anyway. So. So-
I just put out a bucket at the election and say, pay for your postage.
Donations.
I'm sure that bucket will be full. Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bob.
Brian.
Go.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So unless there's any more discussion on that, Scott, you want to provide us an update on the COVID-19 illness policy?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. With regards to the policy, the changes that you're seeing in section 3 and section 5 are the changes we discussed at our last meeting with regards to quarantining. We tried to clean up the illness policy and make it a little bit more articulate in the two areas. In section 3, it really talks about close contact. And in section 5, it's talking about traveling outside of New England. And the other thing we did add into that was that you did not need a note to come back to work after the quarantining period, as you do with the town personnel policy for being out more than 3 days, I believe it is. So I think there's a recommendation to make that note in the town personnel policy and to clean that up in the COVID illness policy. And I'm hopeful that these two last updates will be the last for a while.
Okay. No weekly updates? That's too bad.
I think he's on the next agenda.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Well, thank you, Scott.
We need a motion to accept those updates.
Yep. Yes.
I move that we accept the updates as provided by Scott.
All right. Zach
Second.
moves. Zach moves, Neil seconds. Any discussion? John, your vote?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
And Bill, aye.
So
Thank you very
with that motion, you're accepting both policy changes, is that correct?
Zach, is that what you implied when you made a motion?
I applied all of the changes as provided in the document, which I think is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Guess I could have called it amendment number 4, really official.
All right. Mary Ann? Do you want to talk about your proposal for going forward with the budget process subcommittee of the
Sure.
board?
So obviously we've been talking about the budget for quite some time. There seems to me some opportunities that we could, investigate and maybe put forward on the process of for each department, kind of streamline, but also everyone presenting in the same format. The budget committee right now had a bunch of recommendations that we may want to incorporate. And I think one of them was to become more unified in the way the departments are presenting their budgets. So I think it would be worthwhile to come up with a subcommittee. Maybe they work with the current budget committee on feeding all these in and coming up with something that works for everybody.
Okay. Any comments? I mean, I would certainly agree with that. And I'm not certain when that should be kicked in. I think we've got some time at this point to formulate that and work with our town hall staff and also the next budget committee. Any other discussion though?
I would agree. It would be really helpful.
Okay. All right.
Let's get through March meeting first, and then we'll set up a meeting. And
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, I think just as soon as we can, because it's gonna, it's gonna take a while without everybody coming once a week. That may be too much. So, I think after March works.
Okay. Very good. So now the next thing was the public hearing dates for the budget committee to present the budget to the selectmen and Plymouth voters. So February 4th, that is still on the agenda if needed. do we anticipate that it'll be needed or?
We'll need it.
Yeah, because like I
Okay.
said, Lisa Donor is going to come on tonight, so there will be something added to the
Right.
agenda, to the budget. But there will also be an offset, so the bottom line of the budget will not change.
Right.
And then if we do have petition warrant articles, so
Okay.
we have till the first Tuesday in February to accept those.
All right. That's when we read them. Okay. Yep. Yeah. We read the petition warrant articles, if any.
Yep.
Gotcha. So I guess keep that on your calendars.
Yep.
Well, Jason.
You want to discuss further the town meeting at all to see if there's what the feelings are, or I'm not sure I got it clear.
We're going to keep it the same days.
Yep.
Elections on Tuesday, deliberative session the day after.
Decided, okay. I missed
We
that.
have to send out notifications and have 2 informational meetings prior, like during the month of February, prior to the actual town meeting. And notify the public how we're going to do it.
So theoretically, we can nail down those meetings this Thursday. Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought we decided that we'd have the 2 virtual deliberative sessions prior to town election and then have
We
the
are.
warrant article ballots on election day. Okay, so that's all right. I was a little confused for a second.
Me too.
All right. Piece of cake.
You bring the cake.
Any other items that we'd like to bring up in our work session?
No,
Scott, yeah, go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to mention with regards to the notification we received yesterday from Marlin in the university, is that they are going to be leasing the Econo Lodge at the intersection of Fairgrounds Road and Route 3. That will be leased as a quarantine isolation site for Plymouth State University students coming back. We were able to hold a meeting with Marlon this morning, myself, Steve, and Tommy, as well as Steve Temperino from the university, and really walk through any questions that Steve and Tom had, as well as them providing us some guidance on how they're going to manage the facility with regards to students being there, staff in the facility, security of the facility, as well as Plymouth State University handling emergency response and complaints for things that may happen. The reason they are using the Econo Lodge or leasing the Econo Lodge is that Camp Barrera over in Hebron is not available during the winter months. So they needed to find an alternative site, which became the Econo Lodge. They still will be using the site in Ashland up on West Street, but needed to have that second site. There was a bulletin, I'll call it for lack of a better term, sent to us this afternoon, just outlining some of their guidelines. I know Kathy has a copy, Tom, Steve. I did forward it along to Bill for review as well, but I think they really have covered their bases and they really want to work with the community. And our thought was meeting with them this morning to dispel any rumors that may come about. As we know, word will travel very fast once individuals find out that this is being used as a isolation or quarantine site. They are starting to utilize it this week and it will run through May 1st.
They're going to
So-
have the entire building?
The entire grounds, yes, Neil.
So they're not giving up the building in Ashland. That's
That's
okay.
correct.
All right. I just kind of pictured that they would have. So the Econo Lodge is, how many rooms is that? Seems like it should be satisfactory for the whole deal, but whatever.
Scott, when you say quarantine, you don't mean people that have tested positive.
It
No.
very It very well could be those that have tested positive. They'll make a determination on how it's going to be utilized based on the numbers that they're seeing, whether it's going to be used for quarantine or it could be used for absolute isolation.
Do you know what they're using Ashland for? Same thing?
Ashland is being used for quarantine.
I thought there were positive students down in Ashland as well.
I thought
And there was some concern about that expressed by residents. in
There
Ashland.
are, yes.
There were back in the fall semester, but they're still working with Ashland trying to iron some things out, according to Marlon today.
Okay.
I don't know if Steve and Tommy have anything to add to that.
No, the only thing I'll add to that is that they are going to treat that specific location like it's on campus. So if anything happens, like Scott said, if they need police services or anything else like that, they are going to handle that themselves.
Okey-doke.
I think Tom's trying to talk, but his audio's not working.
What's that?
Tom's trying to talk, but his audio is not working.
What's that?
Tom's got his
Oh,
mic,
stop.
your mic shut off.
You're
Or
on.
is it not,
It's on.
not working?
Yeah. Nope. Sorry,
No,
Tom.
no audio.
I think he's messing with us. He's just moving his lips.
Well, that's it. He got pissed off and got himself off. So, Dan Rossner's online, and I think still, yep. Oh, his video and his mic's off, but
I'm here.
okay. So, Dan, did you hear that discussion? You heard that discussion that was going on with our attorney Radigan and our intent to, well, we're going to have a meeting on Thursday. Well, yeah, we're going to try to set up a meeting on Thursday to talk about how we're going to be, holding our deliberative sessions and our vote, the town vote. So
I apologize that I came in late. I had this in my calendar for 5:30, unfortunately, and I'm sorry about that.
it's okay.
There's one thing that I was actually going to ask your counsel based on his document supplied to everyone regarding his client Chesterfield, which it seems to me, based on some of the conversation I've been overhearing for the last 20 minutes, is the only thing that I've heard that I'm slightly concerned about. And I'll just share it with you in case you guys already talked over this. And I'm sorry to take up everyone's time, but the notion of having the two information, if an entity, a town or a school district, whatever, moves to the alternative process, the HB 1129 process that some people call it, there's some differing opinions I've read about, some opinions that are in conflict. What I think I may have heard your counsel say, or what he definitely wrote down for the Chesterfield client, which is that process is specifically an alternative process for the annual business meeting, what we think of as town meeting. And the RSAs for that govern that meeting specify that it's to occur between March 1st and March 25th. So the rationale or the thought process from some of the people I've been speaking with is that those two informational sessions can't occur in February. That's the point I'm trying to make, because they replace the business meeting, which has to happen between March 1st and 25th. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Am I expressing myself clearly? So I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not trying to stand in the way of whatever plans the town is making. But had I been here on time or been online with you at the same time as your counsel, that was the question I was going to pose to him: is how do we reconcile that notion? So it's just a thought that you may want to consider at your Thursday meeting. When I first came on, I think I heard Kathy maybe mentioned that you wanted to talk with the school districts. We were talking about a meeting with the town, the water and sewer, and the school districts. Was that accurate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so when you say the school districts, do you mean a representative of the school districts, or you mean the chair of each board? Or I'm just trying to understand what you're looking for there.
Good point.
The school boards, both school boards have already
Well,
indicated
they
their
were.
intent to move. Go ahead.
So I thought that we were targeting the school districts, staff themselves, not each individual town within the district, if that's what you're getting at.
Has the school districts made any decisions yet, Dan?
So yes, the Pemmy Baker district is definitely proceeding forward with their first deliberative session on this Tuesday, the 2nd. And forgive me, I have 2 different first deliberative sessions next week, for 2 different districts. One is Tuesday and one is Wednesday. But
Is that virtual or in person, Dan?
Those are in person. And so the Pemmy Baker board is intending to move forward with their first deliberative session in person next week. And I've spoken with their moderator as recently as today. And we're making appropriate plans to have to follow the guidelines. I know he's going to require masks to attend in person. And we'll also have a secondary space set up for those who refuse to wear masks. And we'll have audio and video interlink between the 2 spaces. So we're making those preparations. I have a second school district. It happens to be Rumney. That's SB2. Those are the only 2 districts we have that are SB2. There is also having its first deliberative session in person next week. And the Plymouth School District, I believe they'll confirm this by vote Monday night, but I believe their intention in their early conversations is to move forward with a traditional meeting and their normal scheduled time frame. Second week of March, excuse me. And then they'll all have voting, obviously, on Tuesday, March 9th. Ballot voting in whatever methodology the town has ballot voting set up. I assume it'll be like we had it set up in November.
All right. So is that going to?
We'll reach out tomorrow to try to get a meeting on Thursday so that you will at least hopefully meet with the chairs of those committees if you can. Dan, are you available Thursday morning if needed?
Sure.
We'll let you know time.
Yeah, and would you like me to reach out to either of the school board chairs? Are you saying the school board chairs would like to have involved in the conversation on Thursday morning?
Yeah, I just don't have a time yet. I'm waiting. I'll get in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay, I have a 9 o'clock on Thursday morning that'll probably last about an hour to an hour and a half. That Mr. Whedon may be involved in as well. But later in that morning or earlier, if you want to go first thing, any time is okay with me. Other than probably 9 to 10:30 is probably out for me Thursday.
Okay.
Is John Radigan going to be part of this discussion?
No.
No.
No, just giving Dan's questions. So we're gonna.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be, but.
Well, I mean, he probably can respond to that in email.
I'm just wondering if any other questions come up.
Yeah, we can reach out to him and see if he's available.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan, for bringing problems to us. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. I not my intention to make things more complicated. I just want to make sure no one gets, I don't want to make DRA coming back at anyone saying, "Oh, you didn't do it right. You can't do what you wanted." That's, I'm all about voter intent, but
right.
So if I can be helpful, let me know.
All right. Thanks. Josie, you were going to say something, or?
Yeah, I was about to say it's good that he brought that up because, it's going to be a little bit of a time crunch for us to, well, first of all, for the board to have the deliberative sessions virtually before election day, and then to get that ballot layout to LHS if we decide to use them, or maybe a local printing press that might be a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
I have one other item.
Yep.
I was contacted today by Zach. He had sent me an email. There were some questions about what the cost would be for non-union employees to receive some sort of increase in their pay. So today, quickly, and I'm sorry it was real quick, but I'm showing 1% is about 25,000 would be the increase in the budget. 2% is about 50,000. That includes pay and benefits. And 3% is about 75,000. Again, pay and benefits. It's my understanding that there was Zach had received some information. Sorry, Zach had received some information over the weekend and had asked for that information. So
Yeah, I had a couple townspeople who said they were going to come to the hearing and ask about it, and I figured we'd be better off prepared with the particular numbers and not a random estimate.
I was just wanted to give you that information before the public hearing, so if you needed it, you had it.
Okay.
You are the best.
Anything else? Hey, Tom, did you want to make comment on
Is my mic working now?
this?
Okay. The only thing I was going to say is that I did review that document that Scott spoke about that PSU mailed us, and I thought it was reasonable. The other thing that they mentioned yesterday in terms of this site was that they liked it because it was closer to the hospital if one of their students became ill from the disease.
True. Also close to the PD too. I don't know why I said that, but it is. All right. You want to go through your numbers that you so dutifully collected? Of the number of,
Sorry?
did you want to go through your numbers? Of that?
That was just in case somebody asked.
Okay.
How many people actually attended prior deliberative sessions? We got this from Josie today. For 2020, we had 131 people there. She didn't have 2019 right at her fingertips. 2018, we had 264 people. 2017, 265. 2016, 277. So that's how many potential. Josie, do you think that's pretty close to max 277? The highest in a while? I can't hear you.
Sorry. I think in 2015, we actually had close to 500.
Oh,
It's definitely decreased over the years, but it being the year after a large presidential election, I don't know if we're going to see an increase in voter turnout this year.
I guess I can't be presumptuous and figure that it's just that we're doing a great job and
Right.
most people are
That's what it
concerned about
is.
it. So yeah,
That's absolutely.
that's what I'm thinking.